Hey guys, it's Jason, and with me is
Katie.
And we're going to take a look at my number 101 through 200 games of all time, starting with 200, working down, because we're going to hit number 1 through 100 on the podcast in about 2 weeks.
Be sure you're listening for that.
Yeah, so check out that, so we'll save the good games for later. But there's some pretty good games right here, right now, so I'm going to talk about my games. Katie will interject, she'll be the color commentator, and we'll get started. So number 200, Katie will hold it up. Legend of the Cherry Tree that blossoms every 1,000 billion years. 10 years. So this is a push your luck game. We got it at Origins, I think, last year from Yellow. You put little flower petals in a bag. You pull the flower petals out. You're trying to get certain colors in front of your screen, behind your screen, to score some points. If you can get certain kinds of sets, these little player cards will trigger, give you special powers, and you're just trying to get the most points.
Yeah, I feel like this game may have gotten a bad rap from Joel on the podcast, but it is gorgeous. And to be fair, he didn't know how to play it, and it was at the end of the night, and he gets kind of grouchy, and when he's sleep deprived, he does crazy things. But it's super fun. Like, it's light enough, but you decide, like, what am I going to keep? What am I going to get rid of? I'm going to put it in front or behind. What kind of combos can I get to score the most points?
Right.
And you're pushing your luck, which you love.
We love push your luck. Well, I really like it. I don't know how much you like it, but I really like it.
I have a little bit of a gambler in me, I guess.
Yeah, there will be more of these types of games coming up later, but that's my number 200. The Legend of the Cherry Tree that blossoms in a
every
bunch of
10
years.
years.
All right, so now we're going to go to 199, and that is a two-player only game that Katie's going to hold up for you. It's from Deep Water and Emperor S4, and it's called Hanamikoji, or Hanamikoji.
Hanamikoji.
However you say it. So what this is, it's a two-player game. You're trying to vie to get the attention of these geishas. There are, I think, 7 geishas, 8 geishas, whatever. And you're doing that through 3 different rounds of card play. You're going to do some I split, you choose. You're going to put a card back. You're going to play 3 cards. Your opponent picks 1, you keep 2. You're going to play 2 cards, or your opponent's going to do the same. So you're doing different kinds of actions to try to get the most influence on your side of the geisha. So the purple geisha may want umbrellas. So you want to have the highest number of umbrellas on your side to win the favor of that geisha. It's a pretty straightforward game. It has amazing art.
Yeah.
So that's one of the reasons that this game is really nice, because the artwork is gorgeous. And I think something happened that they had to reprint this game with a different name.
Shinwa.
Are you making up words?
No.
Ramen noodles.
Stop. I'm sure there are no other Asians watching this, but Jason's apparently being Taylor Swift. No, it's like, Jisha Academy.
Oh, yeah.
So it's the same gameplay, but it's just different artwork. I think it has samurais instead of geishas, maybe?
Could be. Yeah, I don't know what happened, why there's another version, but it's the exact same game.
Yeah.
Different art.
So it's just dependent. This has like an older world kind of look to it. I mean, it's gorgeous. GC Academy is a little bit more like modern anime kind of look to it. So depending on what art you're into, it's a really great 2-player game. We have several 2-player games.
There's actually a bunch in this list here.
Right. Since there's 2 of us. But this one I like. I am a sucker for Asian theme, and it's not just war remade.
It's true.
It's actual like good decisions. How's this gonna go? What can I give you that's gonna like make you want to take it but not completely screw me over? It's just a great balance of it.
I don't like I split, you choose, but it works in that game pretty nice, so I enjoy that.
Much.
So
Yes.
number 199, Hanamikoji. Number 198, Sherlock and Mycroft. It's really called Holmes, Sherlock and Mycroft. And this is another little 2-player game. It's a 2-player worker placement game, kind of.
Yeah.
So there's this board with all the characters from Sherlock Holmes. And you're going to go visit these people to take certain different actions. So you may want to investigate some cards. And what you're trying to do is you're trying to collect different sets of cards to be able to have the most points in that color. So say you're looking for...
Like here's... It's clues.
Yes. So you're trying to collect more 7s than your opponent.
Of buttons.
And you're going to score however many cards you have minus however many cards they have, and they're worth the number on the card.
Sure.
So if you have 7 and I have 4 and the opponent has 3, I would get 1 point for that. So you're trying to hedge your bets, I guess, and get different cards than your opponent's collecting. And you have these little cute magnifying glasses that you're going to use to, you have to spin
Currency.
those to take some action. So it's a really fun little 2-player game. We played this a ton. We don't play this a ton now, but I enjoy it.
And what's great about this one is it's a really small footprint, and so we would play this like when we were on like family trips or something, and the kids were trying to wait for them to go to sleep, so we could just like prop it up on like a couch and play it together. And it's not like super brain burny, but I love Sherlock Holmes in general. So you get the investigation feel without getting into a super deep game that takes a lot of table room.
Right. All right, so my 197 is from a company out of Columbus, which is basically our, a hometown where we kind of live. And it's called Salem, and I don't remember the years, 1692. So they have 3 games. There's Salem, there's Tortuga with some dates, and there's Deadwood with some dates. I'm awful with the dates. And what these are multiplayer games. You can play to like 8 or 9 players. And what you're trying to do in this one is you have townsfolk and you have witches. You're trying to figure out who the witches are before they can spread their witchery, their witchcraft across the rest of the players. If the townspeople can find out who the witches are and kill them before the witches are the only people left, you're the winner. So it's kind of like a Secret Hitler type game, sort of, but with maybe a more approachable theme. So I like this one. This is my favorite. Maybe not my favorite one, but this is definitely one of my favorite ones of the 3. So I enjoy this one. And that's Salem with some years. So my next game is 196, and I don't have this game here. I owned it at one point. It'll be scrolling somewhere around in here. And it's called Transatlantic, and it's the sequel to Concordia. And it's not as good as Concordia. And I don't think you played this one.
I've not, probably because it looked really boring with like boats and stuff.
Yeah, it's super dry. I mean, Concordia is pretty dry too. The Transatlantic is like 12 times drier than Concordia. So what you're doing the same stuff you're doing in Concordia. You're playing cards from your hand. Eventually you're going to have to pick all your cards up. And you're trying to buy boats from different eras, place them in these different places on the board. You're going to get points for being the fastest ship, points for being the ship that can haul the most goods. And you're also trying to build these little trading posts to multiply with the ships you have in these columns. It's a lot of math. So
I also don't like that.
Yeah, I didn't love it, and I got rid of this one. Traded it for something.
Why it's 197.
Yeah, it's okay. It's not a bad game, but it's just not as good as Concordia. So hence the reason it's gone. So 196, Transatlantic. So 195 is a game from Scott Alms. It's not a Tiny Epic game, but it's called Harbor, and technically it is Tiny Epic Le Havre.
Pretty much.
So this is Le Havre in a small box. And if you like Le Havre and you like the actions that you can do with that, where you're putting a worker on a building, you take the action of your building, then you're probably going to like this game. It's not as deep as Le Havre by any means, but you're trying to be the first person to build, I think, 5 or 6 buildings, and whoever does that, then it's going to end the game. Whoever has the most points is the winner. And you're doing that just by placing your guy on a building, taking use of the building. If somebody else is building, you can pay them like a rent or something to use their building. And
yeah, this is actually a game. It was used to be ranked really high in my top 100, and it's still, I'm pretty sure, in the top 100 because I do like Le Havre, but I like the compactness of this. Actually, the player bits are really cool because you're keeping track of what you have, and by just sliding kind of up and down these little sliders with the different types of commodities on them. So it does that kind of building, trading, all that really well in a really like compact version.
you can see the bits back here a little bit.
I think you each have like a little pirate.
Yeah, they're little pirate figures.
So it's just and set up, especially compared to Le Havre, is super easy for this game, which is why I think it's so great.
Like 4 cards, a player card for everybody, and a little meeple. That's it.
So that is 194.
Is it 194?
Yes.
I'm so bad at remembering the numbers.
Or 195. Crap. Nope, 195. So this is 195. Harbor by TMG.
All right, so my 194 is a Kickstarter game that we actually got a copy from Gen Con last year. Yeah. Our friends Brandon and Josie picked it up for us and brought it back, and it's called Microbrew. I don't remember who published it. I should, but I did the video a long time ago.
I don't remember.
But what this is, it looks like it's a little Altoids tin size. And in that tin is a game about making beer. And you're trying to get these different types of elements of beer, like hops and barley, and there's 4 different colors of discs. You're moving those 4 different colored discs around on this board, trying to line them up so you can put them on your bottles of beer in the color that your bottle needs. If you can't get the right colors in there, you lose some purity and you get less points. And you're trying to match the beer with customers who want that beer.
Right, and like certain customers want certain kinds of beer, like you can do kind of specialty beers and stuff. And it's, again, another one of those really compact game, which a lot in these, like, this last section of games kind of are.
It is a lot of small games.
Which are some of my favorite kinds of games. Because I think if you can take a big game concept and put it in something that is easy to set up, easy to put away, easy to carry with you, that's a winner for me every time. So Microbrew was really fun. I wasn't sure what to think of it, especially because there's this huge kind of flux of Tiny Tin games plus brewing games.
That's true.
So it's a little skeptical.
All those Mintwork games and all that.
Right.
Yeah.
But it really did win me over. It was fun, engaging. There was some challenge to it, but it wasn't overwhelming. Like, I enjoyed it.
I agree. Yeah, I like that one. So that is number 194, Microbrew. All right, so next is 193, and it is a trick-taking game. It's actually like a game you can get in everywhere, and it's called Skull King from Grandpa Beck. And this is essentially a trick-taking game.
Yeah, it's like euchre, but with pirates.
I don't know why I like it. I played it the first time this year at camp. Played it maybe twice since then.
Yeah.
And it's fun. I didn't know I was going to beat out some of these other games that I really liked, but it did. So Skull King, fun trick-taking game, and I know you liked it too.
Yeah, I think it's because before I even played a ton of board games, I played card games. This is what my family played a lot. I played it in youth group all the time. So
And we've all played Hearts on the computer and
yes,
Spades and all that mess.
Right. So the idea of building on that, I think with this, giving it a fun theme, taking that kind of familiar mechanic, and then adding some like really interesting things, like you've got your whole kind of Trump suit with pirates, but then you've got like the Skull King who trumps those, but then there's got these really neat expansions that also are really great with sirens and mermaids and the Kraken. It's just like euchre souped up, and I enjoyed playing euchre still, so that's why I liked it.
Yeah, the tricky thing on this one is the bidding. So you're trying to bid either 0, which is going to give you points based on... So say you're bidding 0 on round 9, you're going to get 10 times 9 for your points.
Right.
Or you're going to get 20 points per trick that you bid and you correctly get. So if it's round 9, you say you're going to bid 8, you're going to get 160 points. Plus some extra points that you can capture on certain pirate cards. Some of the special cards give you extra points. So it's just... It's like euchre and all that, but with a little more game.
Right, and I don't really understand the math. I still probably couldn't score this game, but it still was fun.
I don't think I know how to score it.
So
That might have been all wrong.
I always let someone else score it, but it's still fun, even though I can't completely understand how to win at all.
So 193, Skull King.
Skull King.
All right, so now we're going to get into some bigger games.
Yeah.
So number 192 is Role Player
Role Player.
from Thunderworks Games.
Thunderworks.
Keith Matejka or something like that.
Matejka.
Yeah, that was close.
Yeah.
So what this is this is a dice rolling game.
Yeah.
Where you're drafting dice to put it in this player creation card to kind of create a D&D character. So you're trying to build up your stamina, your I don't know all these things. This is where you can
Intelligence, charisma, wisdom, strength,
all that stuff.
Constitution.
And if you can put certain colored dice in certain places, you're going to score some extra points based on what type of person you are. So maybe you're going to be like lawful good or neutral good or... Again,
I'm trying to see how he does this.
I know lawful good is a thing.
It is a thing.
What it boils down to is you're rolling dice. You're putting them in spaces on a board. You're trying to get more points than your opponents.
But what I think is really great about Role Player
That's what you do.
Totally lost in Jason is the fact that it is like a themed version of Sagrada or Azul.
That's true. Yeah, much better version of Sagrada.
A much better version of Sagrada. So it's taking that same basic thing, so rolling dice and putting them in particular places, but it's adding this element of there's a purpose. So I want to put this dice here because I've got a fighter, so he needs to be strong. So strength needs to be high. And then another great thing about this is you've got more access to dice manipulation because when you place and fill each certain trait, there's like, I think 3 dice goes into each trait.
Yeah, 3.
Yes.
Yeah.
Once you fill a trait, it has a special power. So you can use it to switch dice around. You can use it to flip dice to different sides. And I think that's really cool. And then you can also, on top of just the dice, you can get like armor and
Yeah, you're trying to do some set
gear.
collection with some cards as well. So there's dice and there's some set collection going on for different types of weapons and stuff.
Right, and the cards can give you different powers too, which is also really great. So it's like just takes that basic Sagrada, which a lot of people love because it's pretty. And kind
it's
of
easy to teach.
And it's easy to teach, and amps it up a little bit to give it purpose and to add a couple more elements. And I wish we had the expansion because I think that would be awesome. But
Someday.
I love Role Player.
Yeah, so number 192,
192.
Role Player. A game that I was super pumped about when it came out, and this is number 191. And it is called Vinyl. It's about collecting vinyl records. And I was pumped on this because I love games that are about music in some fashion. And this is about music, but it's mostly about collecting records, which records are music, so
Right,
that's
it's
cool.
music.
So in this game, you have a little meeple. Could be a guitar, or it could just be a little disco wooden meeple guy.
Nice
And you're going to different locations in this record store to try to get records that will help you have a better collection than your opponent. So say you want to get 3 jazz records from the 60s. If you can do that, you're going to be able to score some points because you've gotten a pure collection. There's mixed collections. There's double mixed collections. You're trying to just do what you're doing better than your opponents before the shop closes. Because eventually the shop will close and you can no longer buy records.
Yeah, so it's set collection, but it's also worker placement in a way because you have to go to different places to get
Right.
the different type of records that you want, and then you have to be able to pay for them. So if you're going to buy a record, you have to get rid of a card in your hand that matches that.
It's like Ticket to Ride style. So you have some
Right.
cards that have icons. You have to match icons with the records in order to buy the record.
And like the theme is great. It's thematically because if you get like a record goes into like the bargain bin, you don't have to have as many cards to purchase it, much like you would a bargain bin record.
So like you have Black Sabbath on the good records, and then you have Billie Eilish on the sale bin.
Oh my gosh.
So we're
Let it
trying to
go.
buy Black Sabbath and not Billie Eilish.
If you wanted to have like a pop record collection, you
Black
could pick
Sabbath.
Billie Eilish.
No. Anyway, we're off on a tangent.
Another great thing about this, we got it with 4 expansions that came with
all
it.
the expansions, I think.
All the expansions.
Yeah.
So it's got like, if you love music, it's super cool because we've got one that's like that's got metal. We've got British Invasion. What else?
There's 80s. There's one
Hair
that's
metal.
a bunch of different reviewers of board games too.
Yeah, and
It's just a little smaller deck, but
and it's not just like 1 or 2 of them are just like, hey, here's different types of cards to play with. But a couple of them actually give you new things to go after,
Yeah.
different types of sets to collect.
the metal one opens up a whole different section on the board, which makes it a little more gamery, I think. I've only played the base still. I haven't even played the expansion, so maybe if I play the expansions, it'll go a little higher.
Yeah, but it's still fun. We're really into music, so that's a big appeal to this too.
Yep, so that is 191 Vinyl. All right, so my next game is another 2-player game, and it's number 190, and it's from Dr. Knizia, who's put out more games than everybody to put together. And it's
Cosmos.
called Lost Cities. And this is, I think, the 20th anniversary edition. I'm pretty sure with Vincent Dutrait artwork. Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure that's correct.
It looks like Vincent Dutrait.
Yeah, I know the artwork is Vincent Dutrait. I just don't know if it's the 20th anniversary. So in this game, this is another game where you're trying to compete with your opponent to have higher number cards on your side of a color than your opponent. So what you're going to do on your turn is you're going to either play a card from your hand, or you're going to draw a card from the deck or from the draw pile. If you put down these cards that have a little handshake, it's going to basically double every point that you have in that row. If you get 2 handshakes, it'll be tripled. 3 handshakes, quadrupled. So say I have 30 points on my side. If I have 3 handshakes, that's going to be a pile of points. But the trick here is you start with negative 50 points on every side. So if you can't get negative 50 points, you're going to have negative points. So
You can't make 50 points. You're gonna.
yes, correct. If you can't get at least 50 or higher, you're going to have negative points on your side. Unless you haven't played any cards in that color, then there's no penalty. So if you don't play any cards, you're not going to lose any points. So that's Lost Cities. I don't think you played this one.
I have not. It's a 2-player game that I have not played with you.
Yeah.
I don't know why. Like, do you think I wouldn't like it, or?
Well, I mean, you rolled your eyes when I talked about starting with negative 50 points.
I don't like it when games are so mean to you.
No, I played this with Brandon a lot.
I've heard you talk
I think
about
we played it
with
like 4 times in a row or something.
him. Yeah, I remember the handshake talk thing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, so you're basically trying to not play cards that your opponent wants, but you don't want to keep them in your hands because you can't use them. So it's just kind of it's an easy game to play. It's just the scoring's kind of fun.
Well, and it's quick. It's like, so it's 30 minutes.
Yeah,
but-
it takes 15 minutes to play and it takes 15 minutes to score. The scoring is crazy.
Wow.
Dr. Knizia loves math, so that's why.
Maybe that's why I've never played this, because I don't like that.
I don't think you would like it, but we can try it.
Okay.
All right, so that is number 190, and that is Lost Cities. All right, so next up is, I don't know how well known this game is, but it's 189 on my list.
It should be more well known, in my
It
opinion.
should be, and Katie really enjoys this game too, and this game is called Dashu. So this is from designer J. Alex Kevern, who is pretty popular right now. He's done Passing Through Petra, World's Fair. There's another big game, that, I think he did Sentient. He's done lots of games since this one, but this is one of his earlier ones.
Yeah.
And in this game, what you're trying to do, it's another game where you're playing cards on your side of this board. But the trick here is you don't want to play too much more on your side in one of the columns than your opponent. If you play 1 card more than them, perfect. You play 2 cards, You play more than 2, you're going to get hit with some negative points.
Yeah.
So you're trying to outthink your opponent just enough.
Yeah, you want to beat
To
them,
score some
but not
points.
beat them badly,
Yeah, beat
because
them
that
just a
would
little.
just be disrespectful.
Yeah, it's a nice game. You just want to beat them just a little. Like when you're playing another game and you beat your opponent by 2 points. Like that.
How dare you bring that up? How dare you bring that up?
But yeah, that's
should've won.
Yeah, it's a nice battle game.
Now, the thing about Dashu, the cool way that you are determining who plays and how they play cards is rock, paper, scissors, kind of. So you and your opponent each have a set of the same cards. You can agree to say,
Oh,
here,
that's true. I forgot about
you
that.
take these
Yeah.
cards. Or you can say, no, I'm taking these cards. Or you can say, whatever you choose. Or you can cross your fingers and double cross
There's
them.
also fist too that's going to like outrank everything.
No.
I'm pretty sure there is.
There's no fist. Agree, hand, take, double cross.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah. So yeah, that one. Yeah.
We clearly haven't played it enough.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Which I would probably haven't, because you beat me all the time, which ticks me off so bad. Because I think, like, I know.
I beat you just a little.
Shut up. I know how he thinks. So, like, there's a ranking, just like rock, paper, scissors, between these cards. And so you are like, okay, well, here, like, several cards that we turned out to choose. You're like, gosh, I really want those. Okay, but does my opponent really want those? So are they gonna, if I say, okay, I'm gonna backstab and just take it, or if I'm gonna take it, then maybe they're gonna say they're gonna take it. Or, because if they're gonna give it to me, then I wanna let them give it to me. And then I'll look like a good guy.
Yeah, and there's an initiative thing on the board as well. So if both people play the same thing, whoever is higher on the initiative, I'm pretty sure if both people are doing the give, and whoever's highest on the initiative, I believe, gets to pick who takes the cards.
Well, and the initiative is kind of almost like
It's a penance for
humanity.
Yeah, being the nicest player.
If you're nice. So by playing and saying, oh, I'll let you choose. Go ahead. Or you take these.
Right.
That moves you up on that track. But sometimes you lose out on cards that you really want that way. So if you do the double cross and saying, okay, whatever they play, I want the opposite of that.
Right. Yep.
Then that moves you down because you're kind of a scoundrel, but you might get the cards you want. So there's a lot, I think, of stuff going on in this game, and it's just a very fine balance, and that's why I think it's so awesome.
Pretty sure you get points for being on that track too.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah. So the better you do on that initiative track, I can't remember what it's called, but it's something where whoever's
Reputation.
Yeah. So the higher you are on the reputation, the more points you're going to get as well. So you're trying to balance playing cards on your side, but not too much,
Right.
along with giving your opponent the cards they want so you can move up. So yeah, it's a pretty thanky little 2-player game, and I like it. So that is number 189, Dashu.
Dashu.
So my next game is number 188, and this is another push your luck game that I really enjoy, and it's called Fool's Gold. So this is essentially, it's a push your luck game, and it's also kind of a worker placement auction type game a little bit.
Yeah.
So you have these little miner meeples, and you're going to these, I think, 5 different locations to try to mine for gold during the gold rush. And what you're trying to do, so say I go to the lake. I'm trying to do some mining. I'm going to place my meeple out on this path that's leading up to the lake, and there's going to be either a 0 or a certain amount of money on that track that I need to pay to get my miner at that place. And when everybody's done placing out their workers, you're going to take the number of miners at that place times
The number of dice.
the number of dice
They're
at the location, because the dice is going to determine how many of the locations are open. So say there's 2 dice, 3 miners, we flip 6 cards from that place, and then whoever has spent the most money, which is farthest up on the track, or whoever has the most people at the place, gets first dibs at the card. So you're trying to collect gems and gold.
So the card deck like simulates the actual mine. So in the deck, you've got a particular gem for each location, mine location. You have various types of gold nuggets, and then you've also got silt because you're going to dig dirt. You've also got bad weather because that sometimes happens.
Fool's gold.
You've also got fool's gold.
Well, I mean, you don't technically have fool's gold. I guess that's another rule later.
No, you do.
Whatever one you have that has the most, whatever.
No. You can pull.
Yes.
No, listen. You can pull a fool's gold card. And so you get confused because you're like, oh, I think this is gold, but it's not. So then anything good that comes out, you have to mix it up and pull one out.
That's true.
It is fool's gold.
Fact.
I've played this game a lot.
I have too, and I can't seem to remember
Apparently
how
not. I really love this game. I actually like to introduce this game to people. It's like a second step kind of game because worker placement is something maybe
everywhere.
new, but it's everywhere, so it's something you need to know. But a lot of people that are new gamers like that kind of thematic push your luck kind of thing that you get here, because when you go mining, it may work out, it may not. You may like, okay, didn't work out, we're gonna have to winter here. Everybody hangs out, we try it again. It may work, it may not.
Yeah, the wintering is nice because that means you're basically passing up on taking a card, or you might not have gotten anything the first time during summer or whatever it is. So you're going to sit at that mine until wintertime. You're going to roll a die, and however many cards that die says from 1 to 6 is how many cards are available. If there's 4 people wintering and you roll 2, some people are going to be
Only
shafted
2 people are going to winter.
from the card. So you're trying to decide how badly you want a card from a certain location. And yeah, it's a super enjoyable game, and the best part about it was Black Friday sale for less than $10.
I think the best part about it is the first player marker is a pickaxe,
Oh,
a
that's
little wooden
true.
pickaxe, and I play with that every time I'm first player.
And it has Eno tool art in case you couldn't
It
tell.
does have Enotra. It's really cool. It's just fun. Yeah, we took a gamble on this. We found it on like a for sale table, like super cheap.
It's amazing. It was a good gamble.
And yeah, it's been a really good gamble. So that's what, 187?
That is 188 Fool's Gold.
Fool's Gold.
All right, so the next game is a game about building a theme park, and it's called Unfair, and it is 187, I believe. Yes, 187.
It's like Roller Coaster Tycoon, kind of the board game.
Yeah, so what you're doing in this game is you're trying to buy cards from this display of cards in the Midway, whatever it's called.
Midway.
And you're using these cards to get attractions in your theme park. You might get roller coasters, you might get bathrooms, you might get a theater. You're just trying to have a better theme park than your opponents. Every round there's going to be some events. There's going to be, I can't remember what the beginning phase is, where you're going to be playing some cards to try to either hurt your opponent or benefit yourself.
Oh, yeah.
But
That's cool.
if you don't like mean games, there's a world peace variant that you can do where you're not allowed to use the mean section of the card. So any of those cards you're allowed to play, you can only use the top section, which will benefit you only and not hurt your opponent, which is the only way I will play.
Well, but I mean, we've played it a lot, and rarely do
Yeah.
people use the mean stuff, because the good stuff
Good stuff's better.
on these cards that you can get at the beginning of each round is really good. And most of the time you're going to really want that. And so you're like, I'm not going to worry about other people because I've got my own park to build. I've got my own goals. I'm going to get up this huge coaster, so I need to take this. So you're not going to play mean.
That's true. Yeah, and there's no need. Like, you're trying to get as much money as you can. And if you play a card to shut somebody's ride down for one turn, you essentially messed yourself out of being able to get good stuff to hurt
Right.
somebody else for no reason at all. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't do the mean stuff. But if you like Roller Coaster Tycoon or something like that, and you wanted to play a board game version, it's pretty neat. And it has a cool like those little roller coaster cars right there.
Yeah.
That's the marker that moves along the track to tell you what phase of the game you're in, which is pretty neat.
Which, not only is it cool looking, which is really great, but there's something about that that makes it easier. Because we've actually introduced this to people who aren't super big gamers.
Yeah.
And so at first it seems overwhelming because you're like, okay, here's your goal card. And you got to take these cards. You can use them for you or you can use them against somebody else. Then you got to draft some rides or you got to draft some attractions. You got to set this stuff up. You got to hire employees. And it seems like a lot. But the great thing about the design of this game is that you move your little coaster car over these little ticket spaces and it tells you, okay, in this turn, this is what we're going to worry about.
Right.
Okay, in this phase, this is what we're going to worry about. And that after the first after one round, everyone we play with is like, oh, I totally get this. I was confused at first, but it makes so much sense. Yes, I can't wait to play.
Yep.
So it's been really good.
It's really easy to play. It's not super easy to teach, but it's pretty easy to play. So
Yeah.
if you can get through the teaching and you want to play a more in-depth game after Ticket to Ride, maybe check this one out.
Yep, 186.
187.
Are you sure? Oh, you're going to
187.
186. Ah,
So 187.
187.
Unfair. All right, so the next game I don't have here, so there'll be a picture somewhere around here. And it is 186, and it is Ethnos. So you've played Ethnos.
Yes.
What Ethnos
Sort
is,
of remember
it's like Ticket to Ride. So you're taking your turn, you're either drawing a card or you're playing cards. You're trying to collect these cards of different races of fantastical beings like trolls and orcs and whatnot.
right.
And you're playing these cards to get area influence, or I guess area control in these certain locations. And you're going to score points based on who can get the most of these little like tokens built up in that area better than everybody else. I think there's points for first, second, and third depending on how many players you play with. But each race also has a special power. So when you play the cards, you may get to do something else that comes along with that race. So that's essentially the game. So if you like Ticket to Ride and you want maybe a little bit more,
Or a
play
different
that.
theme.
Or a different theme. Yeah, that's true.
I was not that impressed with this game, and I think it's because I'd heard about it from a lot of people, and it felt like it was built up, and I'm like, this is it?
But what about the artwork?
I don't remember the artwork.
It's just super controversial.
So it's
Everybody thinks the board is awful and the box is awful.
So it's obviously forgettable for me, so it can't be that good. I feel like the whole game is kind of forgettable. There are plenty of other games that do what it does. I don't.
Royals.
I love Royals. I don't like area control. Well, it's got nobles, of course. You
That's
like
true. I
Royals.
do, yeah, it's in the title, Royals. Yeah.
I don't really like area control anyway. Like, at all.
Yeah, it's true.
It just doesn't work out well for me. I don't know why. Like, I know what I need to do. It just never works out. And, like, I would rather just, like, can I just go beat you up and then take control of that?
Yeah,
Which
I'd
I know
rather-
you
I'd
don't
rather-
like.
I'd rather do area control
I
than
know.
that.
So it's okay. And if you like area control, sure, go for it. If you like that kind of high fantasy theme, this is a good one for you.
By high, she means generic.
It's the term that you use for that. He doesn't know. He doesn't know anything about that.
Basically, you're collecting red cards and you're playing the red cards to put some pieces down.
Whoop-de-doo, 186 Ethnos. There it is, everybody.
Yeah, so 186 is Ethnos. So that's where we're going to
Goodness.
stop. I'm doing 15. I think that was 15. Whatever. I'm doing 14 or 15, whatever number I arbitrarily decide per video until we get to 20.
101.
101. Yeah, so we're starting at 200. We're going to 101.
Right.
And then we'll pick up from 100 on the podcast. So that is this amount of numbers.
186 to 200.
And I'll put, at the end of the video, I'll put what all of them are again if you want to look at it. So, again, thanks for watching.
Thanks.
I'm Jason.
I'm still Katie.
And keep gaming.
Keep gaming.